Okay, hello everyone. I will reveal myself right now. We have a few minutes until we begin our webinar. I hope you are all having an amazing time. Right now, you're probably most of you are either still on vacation or just going on vacation. Either way, your vacation is here and now. Oh, sorry, maybe I should open up the chat because sometimes I forget. Okay, if you maybe have any questions before we begin, you can type them into the chat and I will do my best to answer them. Hopefully the chat is working right now. Yeah. Hello everyone. Hello. So as you probably saw, some of the workbooks are already in stock, so to speak. You can order them from our website. Hello, Dubno. Hello, Berislav. Hello, Bravary, Kyiv, Nikopol. Okay, Kherson region, Cherkasy, Lutsk. Hello. I'm very glad to see and hear all of you here. One of my teacher colleagues has a birthday today. So Victoria, congrats. She sadly went abroad. She migrated because of the war, and she's right now in Switzerland or Sweden. Sorry, I confuse them sometimes. So either way, happy birthday. I promised I will give her a shout out for her birthday. So yeah, she told me that she registered for my webinar. So yeah, congrats. Yes, Kharkiv, Zaporizhia. Hello. To tell you the truth, I was surprised when I saw the amount of people that registered. Hello from Myrgorod. Hello. I was very surprised to see the amount of teachers that registered for this webinar, for this particular webinar, because I saw from your feedback forms that you were all very interested in a topic like this. So, but to see more than 500 people register, for me, it's like mind-blowing. So maybe if some of you, maybe some of your colleagues weren't able to attend the webinar live as of right now, maybe they have some additional questions or something like that. They can always watch the webinar on YouTube. Bila Cerkva, Kanyev, hello everyone. So remember that we have a YouTube channel, and you can always find the recordings from the webinar on our YouTube channel. Also, we are preparing Rivne. Hello, Rivne, my neighboring city. We are preparing a lot of interesting materials for the autumn, for the start of the school. So keep your eye out for and your ear out for any advertisements on our Facebook page, on our Instagram, so you can see maybe some information about our back to school events that will be happening in August. So be ready for that. Uman, Zhytomyr region, Khmelnytsky, hello. Oslanica, sorry, maybe I pronounced it wrong because, Olshanica. Okay. So we have maybe one more minute and then we will start, okay? Because I see that some people are still joining in. Volyn, Петропавлівська, Борщагівка, Кривий Ріг. Hello. I think I see from the names and the surnames, I see a lot of familiar names. Херсон, Рівне, hello, hello. Gnatkів, hello everyone, hello. So, I will keep my chat box open so I can see what you're typing, but if you have maybe some questions, you either wait until the end, we will have a little Q&A section at the end, and then I will be able to answer any questions that you have. Okay, so digitalization in education, why it's needed and how to do it right. As usual, I'm giving you my contact information. So I'm Yana Sverdluk. Here you can see my mobile phone number. You can either call me, just as usual, and you can write me on Telegram, on Viber. You can also contact me with my email address, and also join our Facebook family to see all of the news that happen in our world, and also visit our websites so you can have access to some additional materials that we post there for all of the courses. As usual, the certificates will be received in 2 to 3 working days. So a few things about the certificates. Please be sure that you are looking at the correct email, in the correct email box, because sometimes you register from one email, see the webinar on your account in Zoom, but then you write from a completely different email account and ask us where is my certificate for the webinar. So please be sure to check the correct webinar, the correct email address, that the one that you used before registering for the webinar. Also, don't forget to check your junk boxes, because sometimes the letter with the certificate will arrive there. I have no idea why so, but it happens. Also, after 2 days, 2 or 3 days, I believe 2 days, you will receive a letter from Zoom, as usual, with a feedback form that I ask you to fill out. And also in that letter from Zoom, in that feedback form, you will have a link to the document with the list of all of the digital services, all of the sites, websites that I will show you by the end of the webinar that you can use for your work. Okay. Okay. So, as of right now, no questions. That's good. Okay. So, as usual, our plan, our agenda for the day. So, we will talk about what is digital education and how it differs, how it's different from the distance learning. We also talk about some advantages and the problems that we face with digital learning. I will give you some advice on how you can incorporate into your work all of those digital resources and use digital learning as an advantage. And of course, I will show you those digital resources that are very useful in teaching English and also in learning English for your students. So, digital education. First of all, it's using digital tools and technologies during teaching and learning. So it's not teaching remotely like it's distance learning, but using digital tools available to you, of course, and technologies to help you improve your teaching or your learning process, the learning process of your students. And sometimes in the literature, in some maybe works from other teachers, digital education can be referred to as technology enhanced learning, or TEL, or maybe even e-learning. And if we talk about distance learning, of course, it's teaching, a way of studying, a way of teaching students in which you do not attend any educational facility at all. You study from where you live, as it happened during the pandemic, as it happened when the war began in our country. You usually show your students all of the information they need to work on by themselves, and you give them tasks that they need to complete by a certain point in time. So it's two completely different topics, things to talk about when we talk about distance learning and when we talk about digital learning. So how do you think? Can we put an equal sign between digital education and distance learning after seeing the definitions? Put pluses if yes or no, yes or no's. Okay, I see. No, minuses, no, 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 no. Good, good, very, very good. Yeah, we can't put an equal sign between those two things because they are completely different, like at all different. There are three major differences between the digital education and distance learning. We will talk about those differences right now. So first of all, it's of course location. So where are you right now and where are your students and so on and so on. Of course, it's interaction, how you interact with your students, and of course it's intention. Let's discuss and let's look a little bit more closely at those differences. So, location. With digital education, you stay in the classroom, in any educational facility, and you use any digital means that you can, either laptops, maybe tablets, maybe phones, anything at all that you can to incorporate all of the different tasks, all of the different information into your teaching and learning experience. When we talk about distance learning, we talk about students staying at home, teachers maybe at home, maybe at work, depends on the situation, I guess. And you just maybe record a video explaining the material, or maybe you have a lesson online during which you explain the materials. And after that, you give your students the tasks that they need to finish. So in digital education, we stay at school, the teacher and the children together. With distance learning, we are all being separate, everyone in their own places. If we talk about interaction, same here. So our digital education, digital learning is based on being in the classroom, interacting in real life, not through the screen, and just doing what we need to do to learn and to study. So can you tell me if you use maybe some of those means when you interact with your students in the classrooms? Do you use maybe any digital resources, or maybe no? Yes, Alana puts classes. Yeah, okay. Interactive boards. Yeah, good, very nice. I'm happy to see that you're using anything and everything at your disposal. Sometimes it means a lot, not only to the children, but to your colleagues as well. Okay. And when we talk about our distance learning, the teacher stays wherever he or she is, right? In the classroom, at home, records a lesson, or maybe does it live. And students stay at home, use, again, all of the resources they can. And of course, we do as we can. Show things, record things, play games, despite the distance. I think because of all of the events that happened in the recent years, we as teachers, especially in Ukraine, know a lot how to work with distance learning and how to, I guess, benefit from the situation, and of course not lose your students, because sometimes we know that students can turn on the lesson and continue sleeping, yeah, because they can turn on the camera and do whatever they like. And our last difference is intention. So if we talk about intention during the digital education, it means that we use a combination of different ways, a variety of ways, to teach our students what we need to teach to them. Be it English language, be it math, Ukrainian language, whatever topic we are discussing, that we are studying, learning, we use a combination of different methods, in-person methods, to teach our students. When we talk about distance learning, we only use our digital means to deliver instructions and do it only online. There is no person-to-person interaction, right? And of course, it's not a variation of a teaching style, because if we talk about teaching, we need to have that interaction, right? Like the feedback should be instant, right? We need to see the reaction from children, we need to hear their voices and so on. Sure, we can do that while using distance learning, but more often than not, there are some problems for the students, like maybe problems with internet connection, maybe problems with the software, maybe problems with their laptops, tablets, mobile phones. Either way, it sometimes proves difficult to have that genuine interaction with students with distance learning. Okay, so now let's talk about the advantages of the digital education. So first of all, it's of course personalized learning. Sorry, I'm trying not to rush, but also trying not to dwell on some things. So yeah, personalized learning means that we can like pick and choose what we give our students. And of course, it means that students can go at their own pace. They don't have to follow their classmates like they do in class. So for example, maybe some students like to do their digital tasks first and then do the tasks that they can do in the classroom. Somebody does it the opposite way, or maybe they mix those things. It all happens differently depending on the person, on the child, and how they like to operate, so to speak. Next is digital education that makes your students smarter, right? Because it helps to develop not only learning abilities in our students, but also make them more literate in digital education and in different programs that they work with when it comes to digital education. So they know more, they get to know more from all of the things they work with. And of course, when children work with digital resources, it makes them be more effective and stay more up to date with the current situation in the world, because they have quicker and better maybe access to the information. Okay, of course, motivation of the students, right? Because sometimes working online with some digital platforms or programs can interest students more than doing that same task in the classroom. So for example, they prefer to not write on the blackboard with chalk, but they prefer to maybe fill in the blanks on some digital platform and write, for example, verbs into the correct forms for the past tenses, or maybe something like that. So yeah, sometimes that motivation can help your students be more accepting of different tasks, so to speak. Of course, it's extensive learning opportunities. So it means that students get to learn new things, several different new things through digital tools. And they can do it, of course, at their own pace. Once again, personalized learning. Digital education makes students more accountable. Sure. Sometimes when we give them tasks that are digital, they have a deadline. So for example, if you use a Ukrainian site, which is called Naostanok, you can give links from the tests from there to your students as, for example, like some progress tests, or maybe like final tests, and so on and so on. And you get to install that deadline, right? The date, the time until which I am accepting all of the results. Basically same here. And of course, students get to prove themselves more, because they don't have to look maybe as much to their classmates to maybe do everything at their own pace. And of course, once again, they show their work. They don't show like a group work or a team work. They show what they know and what they can do. Next, it's better engagement rate. We know how hard it is to engage students to do something that they don't like. And as I mentioned before, you can change the exercise that they are doing, the task that your students are doing, from the one that they can do at the classroom on the blackboard or write in their notebooks into some interactive activity on a website or on some platform that you're using for your digital studying, digital learning. Deeper involvement of teachers and parents. So if some of you are using e-journals for your schools, I guess a lot of parents have access to them, right? Because not only students and teachers have access, like the login information and the passcode and something like that. Parents also have that, right? And they can monitor the results. They can see how their child is doing. But also they can have, parents can have involvement in the tasks that their children are doing. Maybe even some parents will be interested in doing those tasks by themselves, who knows? Also, you can personalize your interaction with parents using any other platform, digital platform that your students work on. And our final advantage, so to speak, the digital education makes students acquainted with digital technologies and tools. I think this advantage is something that improves with time, because I think children, especially in Ukraine, from a very young age have access to electronic devices, phones, tablets, laptops, TVs, and so on. And they have, from the very early childhood, they have knowledge how to do something with those digital devices. But not sometimes, maybe not most of the time, but sometimes those basic knowledge is not enough to operate on, for example, some platform, because that platform has its specialties, so to speak, yeah? And maybe the student knows how to, for example, create their profile on the platform, but how to operate that profile on the platform, they have no idea how to do so, because the interface of the website or of the platform is not familiar to them. So yeah, when they come in contact with different digital resources, different digital technologies and tools, they improve those already existing means and knowledge that they have, and they just make it all work for them even better. Okay, so do you think any of those advantages have maybe already happened with your students? Can you put maybe yes or no into the chat box? I'm not asking to write the exact advantage, but just if maybe you saw some improvements from where your students were up to now. Okay, okay. See a lot of yeses, pluses, yeses. Very good. Yeah, because most of the time, let's be frank, so to speak, most of the time we allow our students to use digital resources to do their homework, right? But when we ask them, they're like, no, I did it all by myself. I didn't look anything up, and so on and so on. I tend to tell my students, you can use whatever you want, maybe some vocabularies that you find online, or maybe any other online resources. Just please read through them carefully and not copy anything from A to Z like it was on the website. Read it, think about it, and try to make it your own. Because yeah, most of the students will just copy and paste, so to speak, but maybe 40% will try to make it their own. Okay, so the problems of the digital education that we may have or maybe already have, it depends, right? So students having access to technology in school on regular basis. Yes, especially if you have Wi-Fi connection at school and your children know the password to the Wi-Fi. Yeah, and of course they can use that to listen to music, to watch videos, to do something that is not learning or studying, right? But I think it's the least that can happen, right? The next problem is concerns about the screen time in the classroom. You know, and we will see a little bit later about the screen time, the norms about the screen time that we have in Ukraine and from the world organizations. And yeah, because most of the time, those limits for the screen time are way over the top, right? Not only at school, but also at home and in children's free time. And of course, students trying to cheat by using digital tools during tests, during maybe some, I don't know, maybe like some tasks where you can see the progress that they're making. But yeah, I think it depends on the child, so to speak. Because even if given the opportunity, one person will do it by themselves when the other person will try to take the easy way out. I think most of you will agree that a lot of students use their phones when they are writing some tests or doing some tasks. Yeah, hopefully it will change with time, because yeah, it's the easy way out, but it won't teach them as much as we would like. They won't remember as much as we would hope they remember, because one of my teachers at school told me one time that even if you copy something from somewhere, you still have to read it, right? Because you need to look through it to know that you're copying something correctly. And maybe something will stay in your head after that. But most of the time you need to read it once, not once, but twice, 3 times to remember it more, right? Because if you read it once, it's like, yeah, I remember something like that, but after that, it's all gone. Of course, safety when we talk about digital education. So when we talk about safety, of course, it's digital citizen identity. So it's being able to manage your identity online and offline with integrity. So if you're bullying someone online, most of the time you're doing it offline. But if you do it just online, it won't work. At least for us, yes, because we as teachers tend to say no to bullying, but sometimes even we can be the victims of that. Screen time management. Again, it's watching out, looking out for the time that we spend in front of the screen and trying not to overdo it. Cyberbullying management, of course, being safe and not getting to bully someone and not to be bullied by someone. And if you witnessed something like this, or maybe if your students witnessed online bullying, please tell them that they can report it and they should do it, either to you or maybe to some other teacher that they have complete trust in, and they shouldn't stay quiet about it. Cybersecurity management, of course, so the correct passwords, so to speak, that meet all of the requirements for the passwords to be safe, not opening any spam letters, or maybe not to be a victim to phishing, not fishing, not catching fish, but phishing. It's when someone tries to get your personal information for their own selfish usage. Digital empathy. So of course, being sympathetic to the friends, not only in the classroom, but also the friends that they have online. Digital footprint management. So as we all know, if something makes it onto the internet, it stays there, right? It's impossible to get rid of it. So be careful with what you put out there into the world, because once it's out there, there's no going back. Of course, critical thinking. Sorry, my arrows went a little bit crazy. Critical thinking, right? So we need to be able, we and our students need to be able to differentiate what is true, what is false, what's good, what's not good, what's harmful, and so on and so on. Of course, we need to make sure that we put all of the correct information online, and of course that we give the correct contact information. So for example, I give you information about my mobile phone, information, my email, and so on and so on. And when you use that information, you can get to me, like you can contact me any way you would want. And of course, we talk about privacy management, right? We need to only show our personal information online, that information that is needed to be there, not anything besides that needed information. So for example, if the registration form requires you to put in your, for example, your birthday and the name of the city where you live, that's all. You shouldn't add, for example, onto your page pictures of you draped in gold or something like that, or holding stacks of money in your hand, right? Same goes for your students. So you need to, don't forget to tell them that they need to be mindful of what they put on the internet. Okay, time limits for the screen time. I mentioned that a few 2 slides ago, and on the previous slide we had also that information. So let's look at those time limits. So according to the age, per day, not per week, but per day, from 0 to 6 years old, less than 20 minutes. From 7 to 10-year-olds, up to 45 minutes, even less than 45 minutes. 11 to 13-year-olds, an hour and a half. And of course, our teenagers that are 14 to 16, no more than 2 hours. But when we look to the time limits according to grade, we can see some differences here, right? I guess when distance learning came to be in Ukraine, a lot of you saw those time requirements on the internet, right? Can you tell me if you met those time requirements when you were doing distance learning? Did you manage to stay in those limits, or maybe not? Because I will be frank with you, I didn't. I couldn't, because, yeah, right? Because considering the amount of information you need to give your students, it's impossible to do so most of the time, right? It's like, how? In 10 minutes, how can I do this? Yeah, how can I tell them, show them, and something like that? Maybe when the lesson, like when the type of the lesson was maybe to work on a project or something like that, maybe with those lessons we managed to do so, right? But when you're explaining, when you're working on vocabulary, when you're working with grammar, it's impossible, for example, to in 15 minutes for the 2nd and 4th graders, right? From 2nd to 4th grade, to explain the rules, for example, about past simple, right? How can we make sentences in past simple for the 4th graders? Explain that in 15 minutes and also show some examples. Like how? But yeah, those limits were taken, I think personally, they were taken from the same ones that we have here, that we have according to age. But depending on the amount of lessons, so for example, right, one lesson shouldn't be more than 10 minutes for the first graders. And when they have 4 lessons, most of the time for first graders have 4 lessons, right? I think so. Maybe 5, it's like with PE or something like that maybe. And yeah, when you add all those 4 lessons together, it's 40 minutes. But I think even those 40 minutes is less than they spend on the phone or on the laptop during their own free time. But it is what it is. We need to follow the rules, right? So the first graders, no more than 10 minutes. Second, third, and fourth graders, no more than 15 minutes. Fifth graders to 7th graders, no more than 20 minutes. Eighth graders and 9th graders, 20 to 25 minutes. And of course, our high school students up to 30 minutes. But we already covered that most of the time we don't stay in those time frames. We tend to go over those limits. So how can we incorporate digital learning into our work? How can we do it, right? So when we talk about digital education, there are few tips and advice that I can give you to incorporate it into your work. So first of all, it's embracing technology. A lot of the teachers, especially right now, in the last few years, I'm not trying to hurt anybody, but let's be honest, some older teachers, not all of them, but some older teachers tend to be wary of technology, right? Of using some online resources, of using some platforms such as Zoom, such as Google Meet, for example, or Google Classroom to work with students, right? They maybe not have the knowledge how it works, or maybe they don't like to use the digital resource, digital platforms. It also happens, but when you embrace technology, right, when you dive into the depth of it, you will find a lot of useful and interesting things that you can use in your work, even if you're older. Trust me, your students will especially like you. They will love you even more when you ask them for help. Don't be afraid to do so. Ask for help from your students, from your colleagues. I think they will be happy to help you. And there is nothing wrong with asking for help. Okay, sorry, I'm looking at the time. If we have enough time to work with everything. Of course, if you are already using some educational programs, some digital resources or online platforms, then please stay up to date with all of the improvements that happen on those websites, on those platforms. And maybe if your students need any assistance, then help them to do so. Of course, it's professional development, and not only with digital resources, but when you log into the digital resource or an online platform, but also attending like webinars, attending some seminars, workshops, maybe training sessions, especially those that focus on the digital resources like you do right now with me. So don't be afraid to look online for them, or maybe even ask your colleagues, or maybe ask all of the other teachers in school. Or maybe you will see some posts on Facebook, who knows? Okay, next we have starting small. What does it mean? So try to do digital education bit by bit. So don't install like 5 apps, 2 online platforms, and like open all of them and what am I doing right now? What, right? So start small. So maybe install like 1 or 2 apps. Look through them, discover them as just a simple user, and then use them as a teacher for your students. Maybe install some online platform, same as before. Discover it as a user, and then find all of the things that work for you and incorporate it for the teaching and for the learning. As I mentioned already before, collaborate with other educators. It means not only asking for help. I will show you all of the digital resources I use, Yulia. I will show you them a little bit later. I have already prepared my list. I will show them all, you all of them. Don't worry. It's part of our agenda for the day. So I will show all of them to you. And they all have different things that they work with. And I hope you will enjoy them. Oksana, if you have maybe any questions, you don't raise your hand, just type them into the chat box, because if you raise your hand, I can't give you the right to speak or to do anything besides that. Okay, customize and personalize learning. So it's not only using maybe activities or platforms that work for your students, but maybe use parts of the websites or tasks that you found on the website and use them for any particular task or something like that. And also you can use maybe some additional software. So for example, in Canva, there are some combinations of keys on the keyboard that you can press to, for example, to make bubbles appear, or for example, to show a smiley face that goes shh, to silence your students. So yeah, you can look on the internet for some tips how this particular program or maybe platform works and what different combinations of keyboards, of keys can do stuff like that. Foster digital citizenship. We already talked about it when we spoke about advantages and when we spoke about safety for the digital education. So yeah, make sure that your students are being as well as good as they can be, not only offline, but also online. Seek, study, student feedback. Sorry, student feedback, not study feedback, but student feedback. So when your students tell you that, for example, this online platform was hard to navigate, maybe you need to give them a little demonstration how that platform works. Or maybe this website is hard to use because I don't understand how I can find certain tasks here or how I can use it for my advantage and so on and so on. So once again, help them. If they tell you about some website or some platform that they found useful, look it up. Maybe you will also find it useful for you, and maybe you will use it in the future. Next, balance digital and traditional learning. So don't forget that digital education is not distance learning, right? We remember that because we couldn't put the equal sign between those two definitions. So yeah, don't spend all of your lesson doing digital tasks, doing tasks online. Don't forget about your communication face-to-face with your students. Stay flexible as usual. So be prepared to adapt according to the situation, which means if you maybe have some technical issues, maybe there is no internet connection, or maybe the computers stopped working. Yeah, so maybe some virus happened to catch it or something like that. So you need to be ready, you need to be prepared to use some other means to work with your students. So have a backup plan for this. Not only have like 2 to 3 options for the traditional tasks like on paper or on the blackboard, but have maybe 1 or 2 more as your backup for something like that. And the last advice, my last tip, is staying updated. Don't be discouraged, scared of looking up some trends that pop up on the internet. So for example, I will say maybe not a popular thought, but that's my thought at least. TikTok, yes, sometimes it helps, it gives your students some valuable tips and tricks when it comes to English, but there's also a lot of people that maybe not pronounce words correctly, or maybe don't tell everything to their subscribers, to the people that watch them. So maybe when your students come to you with a video from TikTok and ask to explain something, do that. Spend a few minutes explaining those videos, or maybe telling what was wrong and how should you do it correctly to your student. And don't so use whatever means your students like to. So yeah, maybe filming challenges for TikTok is not your strong suit, right? But maybe you can find some interesting videos on TikTok once again and give them to your students to learn some little bits and pieces. So for example, I really like this one video. I even have it saved on my phone, where a teacher explains the difference between a baby. So from 0 to 1 year, it's a baby. From 1 year to 3 years, it's a toddler, and so on and so on. Because sometimes when, especially older students, like from 9th grade to 11th grade, when they learn all of those different words, describing age and describing people, they have no idea what's the difference between the baby and the toddler, and so on and so on. Okay, so the digital resources that I promised that I will show you, right? Okay, just a second. Okay, Q&A session will be a little bit later. Okay. Okay, can you type in the chat box if you can see my screen with Bamboozle opened? Yes, very good. Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So if you saw some of our posts on Facebook, we told all of our subscribers on Facebook that we are preparing an online platform for the niche students that are for the new first graders and the sixth graders. So for the fifth graders, we will be working on it a little bit later because it takes time. It's a lot of work. We are doing it all by ourselves. So please be patient with us. We are doing our best to give you as much resources as possible before the new school year begins. So please be patient with us. We will be adding those resources as time goes on. So please be aware of that. Okay. So, for example, here on Bamboozle, we are adding review games for not only for the first graders, but also there would be review games for the sixth graders. So you can use Bamboozle. We will be sharing the links of course, on our website. And I'm sure I left a link maybe somewhere in the document, I'm not sure. But yeah, you can see that there are a few games here already. And okay, I will close it. I will be closing it bit by bit. Also, we have word wall. So a lot of our activities will be also on word wall. You can see that Superminds 1, Prepare 6, Ukrainian edition, Full Blast 6, Smart Junior, Dated Edition, Imagine for Ukraine, and also my activities that I created for Vyshyvanka Day. If you maybe used them for Vyshyvanka Day, if you did, I'm happy you enjoyed them because honestly, I was really not scared, but anxious to see people use them because it was my first time showing that much people all of my works. And for example, when we open Smart Junior, so we can see that we can have, for example, some flashcards with the words in them. So there would be vocabulary games, there would be grammar games, and a lot of different games. So your students can work with them. So we can see, right? We can see the word here and we can see the picture. If the word and the picture matches, we press tick. Okay, I see a question. Yes, Svetlana. Students like word wall very much because there are a lot of different activities out there on the word wall app, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, so test English will be the last one. Okay, no thanks. So this one, English e-reader, right? I like this site, this resource, digital resource. Of course, you can create an account here. I already have, but for some reason it logged out. So why do I like this resource so much? It has all of the different levels of difficulty, so to speak. It has books ranging from fairy tales up to some fan fiction, fiction, non-fiction, whatever you like. You can, of course, choose by the level. So starter, elementary, pre-intermediate, intermediate, and so on and so on and so on. You can also look through the genres. You can use the genre filter, series. So for example, maybe there are some books that are posted in series, like, for example, Angus Fleming, crime writer, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Detective Hercule Poirot. Sorry, I'm not fluent in French, so maybe I butchered the pronunciation of the detective's name and surname. Miss Marple, and so on and so on and so on. So a lot of different books. Of course, tags, right? So for example, same as it was with genres, maybe from adventure, airport, and so on and so on. And of course, if you click tops, it will show you the top picks for the favorite books, for downloaded, for read books, and uploaded. So yeah, a lot of different filters that you can use. For example, let's go right here and okay, the Emperor's New Clothes. It gives you a brief summary. You can read it online. You can download it in different types of documents, and you can even listen to it as an audiobook. Next, all things. Yes, from A to Z. So this website has a lot of different things on here. So some maybe basic exercises, some spelling exercises. So worksheets, like any type of topic that you would want, it's here. So for example, cats, right? Course, free printable PDF lesson plans, word banks, and so on. So you can see the grammar, the listening side. Yeah, so we can watch a video. We can also work with the worksheet that comes with it. So whatever you want, whatever you like. Next, English Hub. So I registered for it, and you can register there for free and use, of course, those free materials. There are a lot of free materials. So lesson plans, grammar activities, speaking activities, video comprehension, of course, levels. So whatever you like. And see, it all shows that it's free. For example, answer without thinking. Let's look. Okay, of course, you need to be signed in, but okay, just a second. Because I remember that okay, it will take some time, sorry. I thought it said logged in, but yeah. So see, it says that it's a task where you need to finish the sentence without thinking. You can use it for whatever level of students you want, yeah? Here it says A2, B1, B2. But I think you maybe can change it. You can make it work for even students from level A1. So you can use this as a basis. Yes, I will. So let me remind you, I will share a list to all of these resources in the feedback form. So 2 days after the webinar, Zoom will send you a thank you letter for attending the webinar. And there you will find a feedback form, the Google form, and you can fill it out and also download the list from there. If maybe for some reason the list won't be downloadable, you can contact me and I will send it to you via email, but I hope that it will be downloadable. Or maybe I will give a link to the document into the email. I will put it into the email. Okay, next we have this very strange site with this very strange name called Yellow. Here we have listening lessons. So on different topics, on different levels, whichever you like. Maybe if some of you have already used any of those websites, you can share it with us. So yeah, it also even shows who are the authors. So for example, yes, House on Loan. I like advertisements so much. So we have the audio from SoundCloud. Yeah, we have a script. We also have a quiz, and we have the vocabulary, right, for the recording. So it's all ready for you to use. Just find what topic works for you, and I think you will be just fine working with it. Okay, so next is English, however you want to call it. Basically, this website helps you and your students find words, see the words used in context. For example, let's look for it, right? So it helps you see how to pronounce it, how it's used, right? So,
all right, I knew you were going to look for it in the ground, so I brought it in the tree.
We can also turn on the subtitles.
I brought my gaff tape.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
Yes, so you will listen, you will see it used in the context, how the native speakers use it. And here you can see like the sentence where it's used, right? So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's, how can I say it? How can I describe it? It just shows how actually natives speak. Because when we look into the book, when students look into the book, they have basically no idea how it works in real life. Okay, my next website, my next platform that I like, it's Listen in English. So here your students can watch TV shows, can do whatever they like. So for example, Easy TV, right? American English File, Top Notch. So yeah, Friends, all of the different films, and so they can even find the episodes that they want to that they want to see. TV and movies, once again, different. So Minions, the Lego Movie, whichever video you want, go for it. Okay. 1 second. Okay. I think maybe this website, you are familiar with it. So online ESL games. There are games for different topics, for different tasks, for vocabulary, for grammar, for basically any topic you would like, right? So choose however you want and whatever you need. English practice online. So basically this website helps you with all of the aspects of learning English. So vocabulary, grammar, listening, word skills, reading, speaking, writing, whatever you need. And of course, you can choose the level, you can basically use whatever you like. So for example, elementary, word skills, okay. And I like them very, very much. Yes, so singular, plural forms, prepositions of time, adjectives, opposites, adjectives plus prepositions, many, many more. Okay, last two. ISL Collective, maybe that this one is also familiar to you. You can, of course, also register for it. There are a lot of free resources for that you can find here. For example, you can use videos and use those videos to work once again with your students. So for example, we click play mode, we click start, and here's okay. I think you understand, yeah. Network error. Thank you, network error. Okay, maybe it will let me do that. Yeah. So from the movie Inside Out, so I hope you remember that there was a girl, Riley, and we met her emotions, right? For example, Riley was sleeping when they, and we need to use past to put it into the correct form, right? So I love this resource, this site. It's very interesting, especially for middle school. And of course, I think your English test is also familiar to most of you, because it's probably one of the biggest digital resources that can be used for, again, any type of activity that you would want. Okay, you're very welcome, everyone. Okay, so do you maybe have any questions for me? Do you have any questions? If you do, please type them into the chat box. You're welcome. You're welcome. I see that you have no questions. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm grateful to you all because you decided to take time in your day and attend my webinar. I'm very thankful to you for this. So once again, if in 2 days you will receive the certificate for the webinar, we are working on having our certificate be recognized by the administration of schools. So it's like the official document. So we are hoping that by September, we will be able to give you certificates with the QR codes, with with the series, with the numbers. So hopefully we will be able to do that. But right now you will be receiving the certificate just as you usually would from linguist. Yes, with hours, of course. Even right now in our certificate, there will be hours mentioned. Yes. The recording of the webinar will be posted on our YouTube channel, maybe sometime tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then the day after tomorrow for sure, because I like to get it out of the way as fast as I can. So hopefully by tomorrow, the recording of the webinar will be up on the YouTube channel, on our YouTube channel. Okay. Once again, my contact information. If by any chance you needed to contact me, please do so. I will be happy to help you. If you have maybe any questions regarding this year's 6 classes, 6 forms, NUSH classes, feel free to contact me and ask me any question you would like. Okay. And as usual, thank you. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for attending my webinar. I hope you found it very useful and very interesting for you. And have a very, very nice and peaceful, hopefully peaceful vacation. I hope you manage to gather a lot of strengths before the start of the new school year, because in my opinion, the teachers are the heroes of this time, because we have a lot to do. We have a lot of responsibility to do. So hopefully you will be all ready and prepared to work no matter the circumstances. So yes,